There it is. How many ounces is this thing? 32 ounces.
That's just the steak. That doesn't include the bone. It's 50.
50 with the bone, but I'm not going to eat the bone.
Thank you.
45 minutes to cook.
Oh. How much does that weigh?
I have no idea.
Oh my god, this is my hand. Oh, so much meat. What'd you get, like a pork chop?
Well, when in Rome. When in Rome. Oh, that's good. That's real good. Don't you ever doubt me, you sons of Don't you? Look, Kurt showed up. What up? Ah! Don't you ever doubt me. All right, Longbone, what's with that light? Longbone, mostly digested. Alcohol mostly ran through the body. Let's play little cards. I'm nimbly like a cat. I'm nimbly. All right, it's about 10:30. Super late start for me. We're gonna play till 2:30 at the minimum. Let's get them. Had to get on the list. Waiting a little bit. Not too long. Let's go. All right, 4:34 p.m. Looks like they want me to play poker. All right, we are at my house in the future of Friday, March 22nd, 3rd. Not quite sure what day it is. Got my K-State stuff on because my boys just made it to the Elite 8. They beat Kentucky last night in a thrilling matchup. Anyway, a lot of hands from this day. I believe it was February 24th, Saturday evening to go over, and luckily I have them here on my iPhone. There we go. Anyway, all right, so for the first significant hand of the day, we are in the cutoff with Ace Jack of Spades. There's a middle position limper. We make it $16 to go. A more loose passive type player that we played with many times. 3-bets us very small to $32 from the small blind. The middle position player folds, and with this price, there's just nowhere we can go. We definitely do respect this raise, and it really usually means great strength. And the flop is pretty good for us. Jack 9-4, rainbow, no spades. The pre-flop 3-better, checks, we check back. The turn is the queen of spades. This time the small blind leads for $45. We feel like it's too weak to call at this point, so we give it one call. The river is some sort of a low card brick, and the small blind now leads for $100. And I don't think we have much of a choice here against what I believe is a pretty tight range, so we fold. Not too much later, we have been moved to a second table, where we have 10-6 of hearts in the small blind. It folds around to the button, who limps in. Think about raising here, and oftentimes I'll just fold in this situation, but for some reason I decided not to be a nit and just limped in, completed my small blind. The big blind checked, and the flop came out pretty glorious, 10-10-5. We lead out $10. The loose passive player in the big blind makes the call. The turn is an offsuit 7. We lead out $10 again. The big blind calls once more. And the river is a 5. So now we have a boat. We think it's a good time to go for the overbet, so that's what we do. We lead out for $50. The big blind calls, and our hand is good. Next significant hand of the day, we are going up against a familiar foe, and one of the players I respect more than probably most others at the Kansas Star. He's a regular. He plays for a living. I'm under the gun with Ace of Diamonds, King of Clubs. We open it up to $17. Middle position player calls, and the aforementioned regular calls in the small blind. The flop is Ace of Clubs, 3 of Spades, Deuce of Spades. Checks to us, we bet $30. Middle position player folds, and the small blind makes the call. The turn is an 8 of Clubs. Checks to us again. We bet $65, and the regular player in the small blind calls one more time. And the river is the 7 of Hearts. It goes check, check, and our opponent shows us Ace, King of Spades, so potentially dangerous situation. He was free rolling on us there. Whew. The next significant hand of the session involves the same aforementioned regular that we just went up against. It should be noted he does not 3 and 4 bet often, as evidenced by the last hand. In this hand we are on the button with 8-9 of spades. The regular player in the hijack raises it up to $16. The cutoff makes the call. We 3-bet to $55. Put on the squeeze. The hijack calls, and the cutoff lays his hand down. The flop is about as good as you can hope for when you squeeze with 8-9 suited. It is 7-7-6 with 1 spade, so we flop the open ender. Don't really think this hits our opponent's range too hard. He checks it over to us. We bet $80, and he doesn't take too long before shoving it all in for about $215 more. We count it out. We know it's a call in this situation, so we put it in. The side call. We brick out, and our opponent shows 2 black kings. A short time later at this same table, we are dealt pocket 9s on the button. 9 of spades, 9 of hearts. There's a couple limps. And that same regular player is in the hijack. He makes it $17 to go. We go ahead and make the call. An early position limper in the under the gun +2 position makes the call as well, as does another loose passive, extremely loose passive, but also volatile post-flop player. So 4 ways to a flop of Jack, Deuce, Deuce, Rainbow. It goes check, check, check. We make it $40 to go. The under the gun +2 player makes the call. Everybody else folds. The turn is an offsuit jack. This time it goes check, check. And the river is about as good of a card as you can hope for our hand. It is an offsuit 9. The under the gun +2 player checks to us. And now we're going to target the deuces. So we bet $50. Under the gun +2 makes the call. We show our hand. He looks disgusted. And we take it down. And here is where the action really starts to pick up. We have been moved to a very action-packed table. There is one gentleman who I would describe as near maniacal, and the other is a pretty solid player, but he mostly plays tournaments, and he's drinking, and he's having a lot of fun today. And these two players will be in almost every hand going forward. So, the first significant hand at this new table, we've got about 575 in front of us. The middle position player has 200, and the small blind covers us all. There is a button straddle. We're in the hijack with ace, king of hearts. The small blind limps, middle position limps. We bump it up to $36. The small blind calls, and the middle position player calls as well. So 3 ways to a flop of ace, queen, 6, rainbow. It goes check, check, check. The turn is the 10 of diamonds, bringing on a backdoor flush draw. The small blind now leads out for $25. Middle position player makes the call, and we've kind of got ourselves in a dicey situation with the flop check back. Not exactly the card you want to see. So we call as well. The river is the 9 of spades. The small blind bets 50. The middle position player calls, and we just think it's too weak to fold here. Obviously, you're not going to raise. We could be stepping on a landmine, so we go ahead and call. And to our surprise, our hand is good. The small blind shows 8-10 offsuit, and the middle position player had queen-king offsuit. Next significant hand at this action table. The main villain is our tournament player who's drunk and splashing around. It's about 625 effective. We're in the low jack with ace, jack of diamonds. The villain in early position makes it $12 to go. Middle position makes the call. We go ahead and flat call this time also. And the cutoff comes along as well. The main reason we did flat here is to keep seat 8 in the pot, but he folded. The flop comes 7-10-4, diamond, diamond, heart. The early position player bets $17. Middle position calls. We go ahead and flat call. 3 ways to a turn of a king of spades. The early position player bets $25 this time. We sense weakness, so we go ahead and pounce. We raise it up to 85 with our draw. Early position, tank calls, the other player folds, sometime in the hand. And the river is an offsuit ace. It goes check, check. And our villain shows ace, queen offsuit. So we lose. And this next hand is one that may stick in my craw for a while. We are in early position with pocket kings. There's 1 limp to us. We make it 18. And we get 5 callers. Mistake number 1 at this table, I should have raised to 20, maybe even 25. Anyways, 6 ways to a flop of queen 7-7 rainbow. A check in the blinds, and we bet $60. Only the middle position player who I had talked about being near maniacal makes the call. The turn is another 7, so 3 7s on board now. Check, check. And the river is what I think is a pretty great card for us. It's a king. You know, we beat everything but a hand with a 7 in it. And we decide to go for a little value. So we bet 75, and our opponent shoves all in for 200 more. We really want to lay it down. We just can't do it. We make the call. And the middle position player shows us 5-7. I don't remember if it was suited or offsuit. And after that one, that stung, we needed to take a break. So we came back from break, been playing for a little bit when the following hand happened. We are on the button with queen 10 offsuit, queen of hearts, 10 of diamonds. There are 2 limps to us. We make it 16. The button calls, and 1 other player comes along as well. The flop is queen 7-3 rainbow. Both players check to us. We make it 35 to go. An early position limper calls. This is the more maniacal player that I was talking about earlier. the turn is a 9 of clubs, bringing a backdoor flush draw in. This time it goes check, check. Don't ask me why I checked it back. And the river is some sort of a brick. And the early position player now leads up for $46. We make the call, and our villain shows us 9-3 of spades. And on the very next hand, I don't have time to top up, so we are only 190 effective. We are on the cutoff with Jack of diamonds, 10 of spades. Couple limps to us, we make it $17 to go. The button calls, the small blind calls. It's the maniac and the drunk tournament player. The hijack, who had limped in, calls as well. The flop is Jack 10-6 with 3 hearts. Checks to us, we make it $30. The button folds. The maniacal player in the small blind min raises to $60. We know we could be doing this with a number of hands, including any heart. So we go ahead and make the call. Our plan is to get it in on any non-heart turn. The turn obliges, it's a 7 of clubs. The small blind now bets $60. We ship it all in, just 53 more. So of course he's gonna call. The river is a 9 of hearts, and he shows us 7 deuce offsuit with 1 heart. I don't remember if it was the 7 or the deuce. We'll give him credit for the 7. And we're felted.
On second thought, I'm not felted yet. I'm gonna keep playing. The game I just left got really good. As if it wasn't already, it got even better. But I can't sit there. I have to sit at a knit table, 6-handed for a while, and I'm cool with that. The other table is good too. I can't leave. All right, 11:32, getting called for poker. Let's go play the game. Game over. Game, everyone. I'm done. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 77. 777. Well, that's all she wrote for this evening. 3.5 hours, I believe. In for 500, out for 520. That's also all she wrote for the month as well. 122 hours of poker, up 1873. Woof.